Hey, welcome to Real Dead. Josh here.
And this is Mike keeping it real.
Yeah, and we are Real Dead. And today we're going to be talking about our movies that didn't quite make the cut for 2023 in horror. So these are, I guess, the worst of horror. And now some of these you guys might like, and everybody's got their different opinions on horror movies. So this is just our opinion here. But these are movies that, we really didn't like, and we could have just thrown them in the garbage can, right, Mike?
I think so. And also up front, Josh, this is my personal opinion. I think overall for 2023, it was there were some good movies, don't get me wrong. But I think overall it may be a little bit of a down year. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
Okay. So I'm getting this started right off here, Mike, and I'm going to say Five Nights at Freddy's. Now listen, I've never played the game. I've never, there's a lot of merchandise. People love it. Listen, man, we went to a horror con and Matthew Lillard was there. And the movie was out for what, 2 weeks, Mike? Maybe?
Yeah.
And people were there having him sign a bunch of Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. So obviously people like this movie and franchise that's going to be coming out. But for me, it just didn't get it. I don't know, just like I said, because I'm not connected or whatever. I did like seeing Matthew Lillard in it. I thought that was cool. But for the most part, I just thought the story was lacking. And it was PG-13, so there wasn't much, by the way of blood or anything. But just for me, my wife didn't think it was that bad of a story. But for me, it just didn't cut the mustard.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it, and it's watchable. But again, it was on my list of the 10 worst movies this year.
Yeah.
It just didn't have that it factor. I don't know.
Sure didn't.
All right, so my first one is the biggest stinker of 2023, in my opinion. I mean, it stinks so bad. Woo! It stinks. Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. I can't even say it early. It's so bad. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Yeah, I did not watch this movie. I spared myself. I watched the dead meat version of it.
Well, I wish I would have watched that version because I got about 20 minutes into it and just cut it off. If I just cut a movie off, I'm done with it. I just lost interest in it. And that doesn't happen very often. But this one, I got about 15, 20 minutes into it and I was like, this is so bad. I just got to cut it off. And I was really hoping it'd be good. And they're coming out with a part 2 of it. But yeah, it's a big stinker for me.
Yeah, from what I saw, just the special effects and all that, it just didn't seem like that good of a story. Even sometimes you can cover up for having bad effects and stuff by having a good story, and I'm going to talk about one of those kind of movies. Even though it is on the worst list, it had a better story than this. It just didn't. Yeah, it didn't do it. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I watched the kill count on Dead Meat, but. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't waste my time more than 20 minutes what their show was. So, the next one is for me when we reviewed this, I gave it a decent rating, but since then I've had more time to think and just watch different things on it and really think of the director and how he screwed up the Halloween franchise. And that is The Exorcist Believer. All that stuff, Mike, really has made me think less and less of this movie. It just does. I mean, I hate to go back to it, but Halloween Ends just looms over my head, and then I just don't like this guy anymore. I just can't with this guy, David Gordon Green, man. I just can't do it. So this movie, when I watched it, I think I gave it a 6, but I don't score it that high anymore. It was okay. They tried to do something different with it, even though it was the same thing that we've seen in every freaking movie where they have to get the demon out or whatever. But yeah, I'll say pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass. Now listen,
I was on that train before you, Josh.
I know,
but I will say this. My wife went back and watched it. I watched it the second time, and my wife said she didn't think it was that bad. She thought it was okay.
Right, Michelle said the same thing.
She said it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But for me, I'm a big diehard for the original 1974 one. So.
But I think you did say the end scene would bring you back for more.
Yes, I'm not going to say what happens, but the very end scene, I will come watch the next one. David Gordon Green is going to get my money again, just like he did on Halloween Ends in the theater. So yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right. So my next one is going to be one that actually started out, I thought, pretty good. And then about 2/3 of the way through it, it just fell apart for me. It had so much potential. And I love the earlier movies on this, but it's a prequel to the Pet Cemetery, but it's Pet Cemetery Bloodlines.
I did not see that one.
It was better than I thought it was going to be originally. But again, like when it got to the very end, it just kind of went all these different directions. I just wasn't a big fan of the ending of it. And the beginning of it was entertaining. But again, these are based off movies we have seen in 2023. And this is one of the ones I've seen, and it falls in my bottom 10.
Mm-hmm. So my next movie is one we actually just watched very recently. I was kind of like up in the air, like, is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? I kind of liked the story. I thought it was a cool play on It's a Wonderful Life. And the name of the movie is It's a Wonderful Knife. I like Justin Long. He is in it. The main actress is fine. But overall, I just don't like the movie because it's just not well made, in my opinion. It's not well executed either. Yeah, I'll pass on this one. Special effects, some of them were really horrible. Justin Long wears these really weird fake teeth in it, and they're just distracting to me. Yeah, it's another one that deals with like time travel and stuff. It's like not really time travel, I guess, but like if the girl never existed, like this killer would still be taking over the town and stuff like that. I don't know. I just think the execution was poor, so that's why it's on my list.
So on mine is one that actually got really good critics reviews, and the fans were like, 50 critics, 97, 96, really high. So I said, I watched this one yesterday, and I was like, this has got to be good. And it started out, again, really strong. I was like, damn, this is a good movie. And then about halfway, 2/3 through it, there was still 45 minutes left. I'm like, what the hell? And I cut it off. But it was called The Sacrifice Game. And it was not bad acting. It was really gory starting out. I mean, it starts out, with, knives going straight into people's throats and stuff. Starts out really good. And it just goes down a rabbit hole. And it lost me about halfway through the movie. So for me, The Sacrifice Game, even though it got really high critic scores, it's another one I had to cut off. So it falls in my bottom 10.
I never even heard of that one. But yeah, I'll stay away. So my next one is one that I was kind of excited to see. I went and saw it in the theater. I made a Mike mistake. Went and saw this in the theater when I shouldn't have. And that is The Voyage of the Demeter. I'm a big like classic monster. Well, that's why I put Dracula in, like Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein, all that stuff. I'm a big fan of that. So when I was like, okay, they're going to do A Voyage of the Demeter, there's like a little part of the book in the book of, Dracula. And it's actually a very small part in Bram Stoker's Dracula movie. I think there's like a small part about it. But they made a full-length movie about this. Now, like I said, some of the special effects of the vampire are not great. Now, there was a big deal of practical effects as well, but I think they took them out and they did CGI instead, which is always a mistake. But listen, it wasn't horrible, but it definitely, I wouldn't recommend it to watch. There were parts of it I enjoyed, and the movie's so dark. It's like rainy and dark a bunch, so you can't see anything. It's like, come on, man. Man, I know it can't be daylight, obviously, because of Dracula, but like, let's, come on now. So
that's one that I may actually go back and watch. I know you don't like it, but I still would. Hell, I've watched some of these other ones I had to cut off halfway. At least I can give that one a shot. But yeah. I haven't seen it yet. That's one I do want to see on my list.
Like I said, I don't think it's horrible, but it just was just bad execution. I'll say again.
So for me, is another one that got really good critic scores, and I kept thinking, man, this thing's got to be good. It's called Influencer. And it's about this girl that goes over to Thailand, and the next thing you know, she's, everything I'm telling you is in the trailer. She has her passport stolen, and then it's like she's an influencer, and we're on YouTube, but some of the things at the beginning of it I was laughing at because she's like, doing all these shots, and her view of Thailand is really like at a resort. It's not really out there seeing elephants and the jungle and all that. And I kind of laughed at it at first, and it kind of had me drew in on it. But again, it's another one of those. Maybe I'm just getting bored easily with movies all of a sudden because I'm watching so many horror movies that I got about halfway through it, and I was like, cut it off. So it's gotten really good scores. This is one of those that's kind of like a cult film. People either love it or hate it, but it's called Influencer, and it's in the bottom 10 for me.
Yeah, I saw something about it. I'd never seen that movie, though, but I did see some. I think I saw the trailer.
I've seen it in some people's top 10 movies of 2023, but it's not mine.
Well, the next movie I'm going to talk about is raved about by some people. And I actually just watched this last night because Mike told me, check it out. So I did, and I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was the same old stuff with a girl walking like this with a long hair. Come on, guys. We've seen that a million times. Cobweb. Cobweb is the movie. Okay, they put spiders in the girl's hair. Okay. Like, that's something new. Yeah, I mean, the only part that I thought was okay was kind of like where you didn't know if the boy was really hearing things or not. And, but it's just so generic, the girl. The monster is so generic. And then they're like, well, I was normal, and then I had to learn to do this, and I had to learn how to crawl on the wall, and I had to learn to do that, and I had to... Well, that doesn't explain your teeth being like razor blades, lady. Like, that doesn't explain that. So
CGI is awful on it.
Yeah, I just thought, no, it wasn't for me. The acting is not bad, it's not bad acting, but it just, it didn't do nothing for me. So I'll say Cobweb.
So that's one of those that it could go either way, because I like it until about the last 10 or 15 minutes. Josh said exactly right. It's either you love it or you hate it on some of these. My last one is one I went and saw at the theater. It had Jump Scare City in it, and unfortunately the trailer gave away a lot of it, and it's called The Boogeyman. Was it the worst of the 10 I've got on this list? No.
It may be one of those.
Huh?
It was better than The Exorcist, believer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't, it's one of those. It's I don't know. It's another one of those. I get so lost at the end of these movies where it's like they do everything so well, and then like the last 10 minutes they try to hurry up and end the movie. I think there's a kind of a trend going on now with that where it's like I don't know if they're running out of money and they can't shoot anymore or what, but it's like some of these movies, everything is really good starting out, and then last third of the movie or quarter of the movie, they just try to hurry up and rush it. This is one of those for me. It lost me. At the beginning, I thought it was really good. Me, my wife, and son went and saw it at the theater, but the Boogeyman falls in one of my bottom 10.
And that was based on a Stephen King.
Yep.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Yep. So I passed on it. I didn't watch that one, actually. It's on streaming, so maybe I will watch it eventually, yep. But I passed on it. So, hey, those are our top 10 worst of 2023. If I mean, maybe not, maybe some of them aren't the worst. I mean, there's probably worse, but, for us, that's our
just what we've seen.
Yep, that's what we've seen. We didn't just do movies we didn't see, one or the other. So, right. That's it. And like, comment, subscribe, and let us know what worst movies that you saw, and if you agree with any of the movies that we said, right, Mike?
Yep. Definitely put it in the comments. Give us your list of the 10 worst movies you saw. Are any of these 10 that we called out are ones that you really loved? I don't know.
Right.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.